All right. General questions. We're going into this VOD. Things that you can I could be looking at specifically. Things that you're struggling with. Any questions you may have going into this VOD.
I think my aim's like all right. Sometimes I like bot out and like miss a lot of shots, but for the most part, I think my nade usage is like kind of questionable sometimes. But my positioning, like I think I need help with that. But
okay.
Other than that, I think I'm like okay.
Okay. Read your composition for me. What are you trying? What's the general goal of your composition?
Renzen, I guess it's Renzen, I guess is like to brawl up front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like go down the list. You started with tanks. You read the tanks correctly.
Yeah.
Keep going.
We got double sniper.
Okay. What does double sniper
want to do? Double sniper is poking, I guess.
Okay, poke, angles, things like that. And then your support combo is unusual enough to where we need to make a note of it because it affects drastically how you should be playing. What do you read?
Well, we got an Anamura, so I should probably be playing like a little further back. Maybe like help the snipers out a little bit.
Okay, so you can help the snipers out a little bit. One other thing you could think about as well is think about your cooldowns now. Are your cooldowns going to be really necessary to save your team?
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay, you already have a Moira, which is more than enough healing. The best thing that you could be doing with your cooldowns in this instance is taking an off angle and looking to land them offensively. Because what your team desperately lacks is damage output. You have Hanzo, which is nice, and once your Zarya is charged, that'll be fine too. But, you know, Widow is going to be whether she gets the angle or not, and you're dealing with a Moira, which is awful in terms of utility. You don't have Discord, you don't have Shield Break, you don't have anything, right? So you need to be landing stuff with your nades, because if this team gets on top of you guys, you're just not going to punish them very much. So you need to be able to find a way to land your cooldowns. And your cooldowns aren't needed, like we said, defensively for yourself or for your team, simply because of the Moira heals. So you can either take a back position and look to pocket your snipers, which is going to be awkward on this point, or you can just look for off angles and nade. And a lot of this is going to be dependent on what the enemy team runs, so we will read that as well.
You know, one thing I do see on this map, like a lot of Anas take like the high ground above point. Is that like a good thing to do? Or?
It's good. It's good except for one reason. And you're going to tell me what that reason is.
Probably snipers, like at spawn.
Yep, snipers at spawn. And when does high ground become attractive? As soon as you scout. Yep. Yeah. So where should you be right now?
Probably high ground.
You can start high ground and just not peek the sightline until the 3:45 moment. Press tab, no snipers, then you can sit in high ground. Now high ground is gonna basically high ground. You can think of high ground as another crossfire, right? Because it's good. You're gonna be able to get over shields, and if the enemy team pushes onto point, you will be able to get behind them based off of your high ground positioning. So you don't have to hard flank if you have a high ground position. And you can also, kind of like you said, pocket your snipers no matter wherever they are. So you can kind of get the best of both worlds. And we're going to give them just a second. And we'll see if BAP switches. Okay, so this is what the enemy team is running. And I want you to read this comp for me. What is this comp trying to do? Start with the tanks.
Oh, they got Sigma Zarya. So I guess they want to push up. Not like crazy brawl, but definitely get a lot of poke on us. Yeah,
they have a lot of damage. They have a lot of damage, but they don't. But their survivability is extremely cooldown reliant. Their shield busts easy. They need bubbles. They need his kinetic grasp. If they don't have that, their survivability is pretty low. So you guys can either do one of two things. You can either play really, really fast tempo and just swing your hammer and hard pocket your tanks and beat the crap out of their Sigma and Zarya, and you're gonna win, right? Or you're going to need to play really slow, and you need to kite them back and abuse the fact that your shield is way, way, way better than theirs, right? Because if you take a raw shield war, you're going to win if your team is focusing on that shield. And also you'll open up angles that Sigma's not going to be able to deal with, especially considering you guys have two snipers and they have one. So looking at this, basically, it doesn't really matter what the tempo is. It could really go either way based on the tank light. Depends on how your team wants to play, and you can't control your tanks. But the rule still applies to you. You still don't need your cooldowns to protect yourself because there's nobody in the enemy team that's going to be diving or threatening you. There isn't really any huge, terrible threat to your tanks, like a hog hook or Orisa hog that might hook your Zarya, something that you need to save nade for. It is gonna still come down to, are you going to be landing your cooldowns or are you not? And that's going to decide whether you're going to win the fight or not, in a nutshell. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So we solved the situation. Let's see if we respond correctly to the analysis that we have done. And you've already failed. And why have you already failed? Just so we don't forget.
Not in a good spot.
You're a terrible spot. Yeah, you're in an awful spot. The only spot that I think that could be better than high ground here is potentially back at your choke, all the way back here, whereas you can kind of see this entire sight line. It's not great, but it at least has the benefit of safety. This is bad because you're not safe, nor are you aggressively positioned to land a cooldown. So this isn't offensively good, nor is it defensively good. If you were all the way over here, peeking that corner and throwing a nade back here, okay, it's dangerous, but there's some offensive value. There's no offensive value here, and there's no defensive value. You're standing out in the open, so it's not good. It's fine. It's not not incredibly useful. But you're running snipers, so maybe they can get a sight line on that. I want to make sure that even though we're running snipers, that we're using our cooldowns at the right time, right? When your team can actually use, if you sleep them at this door here, okay, you mildly inconvenience them, but that's about it. Where if you sleep them here or here, your team's gonna punish that. Even if they don't get the kill, it's gonna be a 5v6 during that engagement. So this sleep is okay, maybe a little early, if anything. So there's really no threat to you at all. I would say here that I would have looked to peek this side here. I think you could have gotten a sightline onto your Rhine here. The default is kind of like you really needed somebody to be able to break your shield or break that barrier for you. I respect that you actually took the initiative to try and do that. Seth's the goal. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah, I think right there, I think I might have been like a little too far up. I'm not sure, just because like the wall breaks and I'm feeding, so.
Yeah, again, maybe the high ground here, this would have been better because you could have naded over the wall and hit this little wall here. So who knows? Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Unfortunate. Yikes. Yikes. That can't happen, man. Like, you're just throwing them. You're just throwing them. There's no effort in that at all. Your reaction speed is not that bad. This nade, I can understand, because there is a window of opportunity where it feels like this might be a fat nade, right? I can understand that. This sleep, completely unacceptable.
Yeah, just kind of throwing it out there.
This is you botting out. Yeah, this is just you botting out. This fight's, we're already in a bad spot. Okay? This is a good nade. Okay? Now, why is this a good nade? Let's go back to what we talked about earlier in terms of like cooldown timing.
It's 3 of them out in the open. They just used, well, they have Sigma over on the left, so you can't really put a shield.
Don't even, you're overanalyzing it. You're overanalyzing it.
Okay.
Okay, look at the timing.
No bubble.
Yeah, you're still thinking about cooldowns. Like, I think that's good, but like the very fundamental is that the enemy team is now fighting your team. This is the time to use your cooldowns, right?
Yeah.
Because if they're behind the corner here and you nade them, they can duck behind the corner and they can survive, right? But if the fight has started, they can no longer do anything about these nades outside of using their cooldowns. So it's over. Like this nade's gonna hit, and these guys are gonna get punished for it. Zarya and Moira either run or die, right?
Yeah.
And if they run, who's gonna die? Mei.
Probably the Moira first, yeah.
Or well, either the Moira or whoever they ran away from, right? So it's like that's what you kind of have to look for. Like you need to be using your cooldowns at the right times, right? Nothing pains me more on a similar note of like an Ana using a nade before her team dives, or like her Winston is staging or something and then they nade and then the nade wears off and then the Winston dives. It's like it's such a waste. Like synchronize your pressure. The enemy team has decided to attack. If you land your cooldowns now, it's GG's. Now obviously your team has probably already lost this fight, but this was an excellent nade. Well placed, well positioned, well timed. Nice job. So look at that, Moira, to use Fade. She had to use her Coalescence. And your Zarya didn't immediately die. And the only reason that your Zarya didn't immediately die was because of that nade usage. So, because you created enough pressure to where she was able to survive a lot longer. That's a crappy nade. Again, in this situation, it's like the fight's kind of already lost, so...
Yeah.
In terms of positioning, it's like you needed to just either hit yourself and back off, or you need to actually hit the multiple of the enemy team. That one was just felt kind of lazy. Wasn't super well placed. Okay, lost fight. Unfortunate. Took us too long to contribute. Fight, we were already down 2 by the time. An 8 is fine. You're not really in an engageable location.
Yeah.
Again,
it's just trying to like get a little more damage on them.
A little bit of ult charge. Yep, no problem with that. And again, we're looking at a composition that's not going to be able to punish you for using cooldowns aggressively. It's like here's the thing: is you could look at it. It's like you could look at this composition, and you're going to get killed less for using your cooldowns improperly. But your teammates are going to die because you're using cooldowns improperly. Because all you're gonna If all you are is another heal bot like your Moira, your team is fighting at a disadvantage, right? Because if you cross out the enemy on the enemy Moiras, excuse me, you have to be doing more than the Baptiste. Baptiste has shield pressure on you. He has immortality field on you, right? He has way more healing output than you do. So you better be doing stuff with your sleep and nade, or Baptiste is going to be outvaluing you. Like, that's how you climb. You have to play better than the enemy Baptiste. You have to contribute more. You have to win more fights. You have to die less. You have to do more stuff with your ultimate than he does. And so you got to look at that fight and go, okay, that Baptiste probably contributed way more early and mid of the fight. And by the time I actually started doing stuff, it was already too late. Okay? Now that's oversimplifying things, but that's kind of how you have to look at things, because we're only looking at you. We only care about you. I don't care about your team's mistakes. Yeah. Okay. Talk to me through Nano, because this is a tough one. Okay. Well, actually, let's pause. Yeah. What's happened here?
We swapped to Sigma.
Okay. So in terms of speed, we're definitely going to be playing a little bit slower. Definitely going to be playing a little bit slower, because the confusion of whether we wanted to brawl or poke is no longer there. Instead, basically, we can look at this in just this way. Okay, Mei versus the Widow. Okay, that's a little unclear. That was supposed to be the Mei. What do you want to do with your Nano here? Talk me through it.
Right now, it depends on like what the enemy team does like with the fight, but I'd probably try to hit either one of the tanks so they can build ult faster and like win a fight faster. Okay,
Zarya would be fine. Hanzo wouldn't be the end of the world. You could also use your Nano to save a tank if it's necessary, as long as the fight's not already lost. Moira, obviously no. Widow, no. I'm actually not a huge fan of Sigma. If you're using it to save Sigma, that's fine, but it's too easy to stop Sigma's damage, which is a problem. In other words, it's too easy for them to just go, no, we don't want you to do any damage. We're going to hide behind our shield or hide behind a wall, and then Sigma just, you know, he's not much he can do there. He's not very mobile. He's not very fast. Zarya, at least, if she's nanoed and high charged, yeah, you can run, but you can't hide. She's going to get to you. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Again, positioning-wise, talk me through this.
It's like okay, but not great, because it's just staring at the main choke. Like if Hanzo pops like the left side, then I'm just dead. So.
Well, it's not just that. It's like it's take the high ground. Like I understand
and my team's all behind me.
Yeah, like so like positioning-wise, I understand that you're concerned about this. Like I understand that the high ground seems scary with that. But why is that less of a fear for you in this situation? Why is Hanzo less likely to contest you on high ground?
Because double sniper, I guess.
Yep, you have a Hanzo and a Widow of your own. Hanzo has to respect your sightlines way more. Okay, and also Hanzo in general is just a little bit less of a threat than Widow is in terms of longer sightlines. He's more better at damage take, but he's gonna punish you less for being in high ground positions. Okay, so we are going high ground. Looks like this is good. I spoke prematurely. And see, this is fine. Like, same sightline as your Widow, doesn't matter. You can hard pocket your tanks. You're at basically a crossfire to where you can nade back of this wall. You can nade this angle. You can nade here. You can nade defensively. You're in a great position to see who can use Nano, what the enemy team is doing. And this is, in the situations like this, double healing isn't the end of the world either. Like, if you've got nothing else to do here but just shoot your Zarya, your Zarya is never going to die. Like, it's completely fine. And you're also, another thing I want you to look at too is like, what are the enemy coming up on in terms of ults here? Like, we're coming up on a Hanzo ult, we're coming up on a Blizzard, there's a Sigma ult that's going to be online too. Eventually they're going to get grabbed. Being on an isolated position like this, abusing sightlines, means that you're going to be able to avoid those ults as well, and potentially hard pocket somebody through them. Like, you don't want to get ulted as a support, and so this is a good position to avoid that. So this is great. Okay, unfortunate. Was it a good try?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe. I mean, it was before he put the shield up, so.
Yep, just unfortunate. It was like the nade earlier on first. Good try. Unfortunate. Like, your decision making there was fine. That is not fine. So, and I'm always about proactively ulting, right? But what is my concern with this Nano here? Look at my.
Yeah, it's too early in the fight.
Well, yeah, there's just a distance that's kind of too far. It's going to be, and again, I'm just not a big fan of this Sigma Nano here. If this is like a Winston or a Genji where they could kind of dictate the initiation, like, that's different, but Sigma is just kind of there, and he's going to poke and prod, and I mean, you're going to get an advantage out of this, but it's not going to be very much. It's not going to be much. So this ult isn't Now. Okay, this is big. Where's the potential here? Okay, where's the potential here? And this is another reason why high ground is really powerful.
Huge nade possibility.
Huge nade, right? Because what you've done is you are like a spider, okay? And the spider thing is like she's got the crazy long arms, you know? And if we draw the spider here, right? And as the insect moves this way, the spider's arms surround, right? They surround. And all they're doing now is they're moving into your trap. They're chasing your Sigma, and your Hanzo just takes a deeper angle, and you take a deeper angle, and your Widow takes a deeper angle. And this is exactly what you need to be doing. And this is the thing about high ground is you can do this, whereas if you were on the low ground trying to take a deeper angle, like right next to the payload, you just die, right?
Yeah.
But you've got cover here, you've got high ground, nobody in the enemy team could punish you for this. This is really, really good. If you nade this, this could be fight winning. Almost.
Yeah.
Good sleep. Not worth. You either needed to nade way earlier or just not nade at all. So at first I was like, oh, maybe you could save your Zarya, and then I'm like, don't worry about it. And then you're like, I'm not gonna save her. I'm like, it's okay, whatever. I'm like, wait, it's too late. Like it's too late.
Yeah.
At this point, it's already too late. It's not even an unlucky. It's just a bad decision. And you had such offensive threat here. Like, look at your Hanzo.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Can you imagine if you would just GG's, whatever, I can't save my Zarya, but you nade these guys?
Yeah.
100% winnable. 100% winnable. Except now, you land a nice sleep. Very well done. But you nade for neither defensive or offensive value. You get stuck in the middle of the road, and now this fight is really probably not winnable.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be able to generate enough threat. See, like, right now, you're just useless. No. What's your mistake?
Dropping down?
I understand.
Or going forward too much? Or?
Dropping
kind of
a little bit was fine because you needed, you wanted your Moira to top you off. Like right here, fine. But go back. Go back. They're sitting underneath you. You can literally shoot them in the back, nade them. Nobody can do anything. And your Hanzo's still in the back line. Your Widow's still in high ground. Like, all you're doing here is you're just reducing your ineffectiveness. And there's not even the argument of, oh, I'm going to pocket my main tank better. No, she has a Moira with him. You don't need to be pocketing anybody, right?
Yeah.
You're redundantly healing, and you're going for worse cooldown angles here. Because you're like, nope, it doesn't hit anybody.
Yeah.
Right? And this isn't even a mechanical problem. It's not like, oh, you just misaimed your nade. No, this nade is like 9 times out of 10 going to do nothing. Just because your position is just awful. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of just throwing it out there.
And so now, like, nice sleeps, but like, and now you got to worry about coalescence. Now you got to worry about Sigma ult. Now you got to be worrying about these two ults as well. Their Hanzo could now go high ground, and you know, Hanzo going into you on high ground is suicide because you're gonna get slept immediately and die, especially with your sleep mechanics. Now he can go to high ground, and now he can harass you, and now you're not only in a bad position because you're not in high ground, you're out in the open, and you don't have a corner, and you don't have cover. So this is better, but I mean, and again, another reason to be in high ground is this right here, right? We talked about it in first point. Why do you want to be on high ground versus a Mei? Besides Blizzard,
yeah, shoot over walls.
You can shoot over walls. You can nade this. You can shoot this. Like your Sigma's not just going to immediately fold over and die, right? But look at your team right now. I don't know who this is. I don't know where your Widow is. I think your Widow. So yeah, your Widow's right next to you. Okay, so your team has already lost this fight because everybody's in the low ground, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's in the low ground. No, like you guys have the ability to abuse long sight lines and angles and crossfire, and everybody's in the low ground and short sight lines. GG's. It's over. Like you could, I could guarantee you, unless somebody in your team just completely goes nuts and pops off, this fight is already lost, even though it's a 6 versus 6.
Yeah, especially with their ultimate.
Yeah, the enemy team is just better than you are at doing this very same thing. Okay. Hanzo ult forces you guys to split up. Now you guys do take high ground, it looks like. But again, do you see how ineffective you are right now?
Yeah, I'm just kind of standing in the back
doing nothing. You are doing
nothing.
Absolutely nothing. And there is no excuse for you not to be in high ground. There is no Genji. There is no Widow. There's nothing. There's no excuse. Jeez. No comment again. And like, you were an inch away from getting caught in that.
Yeah.
Useless, useless, useless nade. Useless, walling off. You got carried so hard. Do you feel how absolutely wasted your efforts were?
Yeah.
Do you feel like it didn't matter how good you were at landing cooldowns or aim, you couldn't do anything? Just felt like you're staring at a wall the entire time?
For the most part.
Yeah, that's pretty much that the second half of that fight in a nutshell. And what do you need to be doing right now?
Going to high ground?
Going to high ground. And again, like, they make a swap to Widow, so you're probably not going to be able to keep high ground. But you should always get in the habit of go back to a good positioning, and then if you have to give it up, that's fine. You can always drop from high ground. You can't, like, super jump and climb back to high ground, right? You got to start now. Off time is now. Okay, I do want to take a read on this, though, very quickly. So we kind of talked about it earlier. The enemy team is running a Mei. You guys are running Hanzo. They have a Rein. You have a Sigma. Now, Sigma's shield is not going to last as long as Rein's is, potentially. But in terms of the actual brawl, they are better, right?
Yeah.
So you need to be, once again, not saving your cooldowns for only defensive purposes, but what?
Offensive.
Offensive purposes. You need to get, especially considering you're still running on a Moira. You need to get yourself in a good location right now. And even if that's like hiding in here and like, you know, looking for sneaky things here, I don't care. Like, be creative. Your positioning is going to dictate your cooldown usage. I don't care how good you are at nade mechanics, you're not going to do anything if you're out of position. Okay, so Widow's back. We got to be thinking about that. Close. I don't have as much of a problem on that because you were trying to time it just after bubble and your team wasn't in an engageable spot in that Zarya, so that's fine. I respect it. Wasn't perfect, but wasn't great. You need to remember the Widows there, though.
Yeah.
Always track your threats. You should always know where your threats are, and really your only threat right now is Widow. Okay, nade there is, again, fine because there's not an engagement going on right now, right? So you can go fish for ult charge and stuff like that. It's fine. Okay. I would push up now because what's starting to happen is your engagement is starting to creep away from you and you're kind of getting yourself at a location where you can only see your team. And that's not what you want to do. Especially with your Widow dead, you don't have to respect your sightlines anymore. You could just sit right here. That way you can actually do something. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Like this crap, so that kind of garbage name is so much easier to do from here, right? There's no reason, like your team is a million miles away from you, and you don't have to be that scared of the enemy team. Like they're not going to be able to speed from here to here that quickly. You'll still be able to kite. And again, we need to be thinking about our Nano as well. No.
Yeah.
No. I like, and there's a couple reasons why, okay? First off, you really want your Nano to be generating ult charge whenever possible. There's obvious exceptions to that, like Nano Blade, but there's a couple of other reasons why. First off, it's like, the damage isn't good. It's not. So you benefit, like, it's like nanoing a zero charge Zarya. It's like, it's just not, going from 5 cents to 10 cents isn't very much. Whereas going from $10 to 20, that's a lot more. Because you're starting from a higher base damage. So the 50% more is a lot more, or 10 to 15 rather, okay? Secondly, think about what else does Nano provide.
Healing, like instant healing.
Yeah, the instant healing and the what?
That damage reduction?
Yes, the damage reduction. Does Moira need the damage reduction in Coalescence?
No.
No, she's just going to use her max beam range and that's it. So she's going to be getting inherently less value out of it, whereas Zarya is going to be able to play more aggressively, and she's going to benefit a lot from that survivability, right? So not only are you not generating ult charge, you're doing it on a target that doesn't do a lot of damage and doesn't get anything out of the survivability. So Moira's, that's a no-go for me. Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no!
It's like the third time that's happened in this VOD.
Oh no! And yeah. Oh boy. Again, I understand not wanting to off angle all the time, but why is this circumstance different?
Because they have a Ryan.
No.
Or. Oh yeah, because we have Moira.
You have Moira. You don't.
Yeah,
You don't need to be with your core pumping heals in their butt cheeks. You know, you can be going for off angles, and especially when before they had the Widow, like you could be all over the place. Nobody's gonna touch you. So, okay. Kind of a yeeted sleep. Not a huge fan of those. If you're gonna go for something like that, at least like aim for a target. You aim for red. You did not aim for Ryan or Zora. You aim for red. So.
Yeah. But one problem I do have that I don't know if it really affects my aim too much. Like I have to wear glasses for it, but my eyes don't focus properly. Like I have normal vision, but like I can't like see things like clearly. So I just kind of aim for like the silhouette.
Okay. Yeah. Understandable. Here, Widow. Aiming up is Ana is misery. Okay. Talk me through this again.
Or the nade?
Yeah.
It's not really necessary. I just kind of throw it out there.
Well,
maybe.
Okay. Again, but like, can we like stay on topic here? What have we been talking about consistently?
Aggressively using nade.
Aggressively using nade, and what is going to set that up? Your positioning, yes.
Yeah.
Like the best thing that you can hope for here is that maybe Ryan fire strikes and you get it, right? Or he just randomly decides to drop shield, okay? Which is luck. Not luck, but great deal luck, all right?
Yeah, especially when you're dealing with this.
Yeah, right. What should you be doing here if you want to go for a nade like that?
Probably getting an off angle or high ground.
Now, again, high ground is going to be like only dependent on where their Widow is or whether she's dead or not. But if the Widow is still alive, just go through here. Nade here. You don't have to be directly behind them. Yeah, you don't have to be directly behind them. Because if you do this, who's going to punish you at this distance?
Probably no one.
Nobody. And not especially if you still have sleep. You're going to nade and you're going to book it out of there. And they're not going to be able to do anything. I promise you. Again, like, I mean, nice sleep, I guess, but, like, completely luck. So, like, I don't have a huge problem with that, but, like, it just would be so much easier if you did the same thing from an off angle.
Yeah. So that one wasn't a yeet, but it really didn't have that much value. So.
Yeah, and it wasn't a yeet. You definitely aimed it at the Rhine, but it was like it was still luck that it landed because the Rhine just happened to drop shield at that moment instead of actually going, hey, the Rhine can't shield from this angle. I can sleep the Zarya behind his shield if I take this angle. Okay. So now the game plan changes a little bit. Obviously your Moira's dead, so it's perfectly fine now. You got hit by a fire strike, but you do need to just focus on pocketing your tanks now. Okay. That should be a team wipe. A little bit of a yeeted sleep again, but whatever.
That was just hoping he dropped his shield.
Yeah.
It didn't really matter because it was already over.
Yep. I don't have a problem with using a cooldown there because you're not going to need it either way. Okay. Sights. Obviously, this prevents you from off-angling for 15 seconds. Oh, okay.
No, tracer.
Yep. What does this mean? This is
watch out from behind.
Hugely important your positioning here.
Yeah. Usually you want to be like with your team or like with at least one other person. Okay.
At least one other person is helpful, but also it flip-flops the power of different positions, okay? So we went from, what? We went from high ground is less attractive, why?
The Widow.
Okay. Now, and what was more attractive on the low ground off angles, right? Because they're hard to contest as a Widow. Could be, but it's going to be a lot more dangerous, right? Because you're going to have off angles contested by Tracer. Whereas high ground is a lot more attractive, right?
Yeah.
Because there's no Widow to contest, so you can go on high ground. And Tracer can't get to high ground unless she takes the stairs. And if she falls off high ground, she can't get back up there again. Okay, so if she makes the mistake of blinking off, if she, screws up whatever, she has to take the extra long path and get there. And you have this amazing sightline, right? And the biggest thing with high ground 2 into Tracer as well is, especially in a high ground like this, you're going to see her coming a million miles away.
Yeah.
The only way that she's going to get to you is if she sneaks underneath and sneaks up and comes up the stairs to our left, right? And as long as you're checking that, you're fine. And again, the same thing applies with the Winston as well. Like, you want him to have to use jump to get to you. You don't want him to flank under here and get to you in the low ground. He has to use jump to engage in you or walk into an open sightline. So high ground is pretty good against flankers because they don't have the damage to contest the longer sightlines, and it makes things really awkward for them to get to you. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so respect high ground, like be a little bit cautious of high ground, like we talked about in first point to snipers, but the second that they don't see snipers, you need to go to high ground. Make it hard for the flankers to get to you. And remember, high ground is an off angle. It is crossfire. You will be able to land cooldowns more consistently. Like right now, Winston is already in high ground, so you guys are already in trouble. He's already set up positioning. Now he can drop on you, and without even using a jump, and then jump back out again. So he's going to make your life absolutely miserable. Why do your circles look like hexagons and octagons? Shut up, Seth. Nobody cares what you think. You gotta keep him in line sometimes. Alright. This is fine. Haha, look at that. Pet Ryan. Nice sleep. Unfortunate name. Okay. But yeah, like in a nutshell, like everything that just... Okay. I like this is not just your fault, obviously. But everything bad about this entire fight happens because the enemy team took high ground from you guys. I'm pretty sure the Ryan like 180 shattered here from high ground. The Winston dropped for free. Like neither of these tank plays would have happened if you guys had contested high ground, which starts with you. Starts with you. Because if you're communicating to your team, you have your cooldowns available, you sleep the Ryan, you sleep the Winston, you start shooting them, like you can communicate that that's what they're going for. Like this entire plays works because your team just sits on the low ground. Discipline you, Coach Spilo, please? No. I'm not going to do that. Sorry, Ruckus. It's ridiculous the kind of pressure I have to deal with in chat.
Understandable.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised that they're letting you stay here, but okay.
Yeah, and they just forgot about us. So.
Alrighty then. I want you to nano your Hanzo next fight. Please nano your Hanzo. Please. Please. That's a high percentage sleep. Whatever. Nice nade. And again, like obviously I don't like you to hard flank. But like, do you see how easy that was? Like it's just, you didn't even aim, you just chucked it in the general direction and you hit somebody, you know? So it's like it's the positioning that like lets that kind of thing happen. So okay, Nano Hanzo, let's go. And like I don't recommend usually nanoing Hanzo, but like he was actually getting value out of that survivability, you know? He was like jumping in there, right? Like going Reaper mode, but yeah. Okay. That was interesting to say the least. Oh my goodness gracious. Nice sleep. Sleeps are very, very nice. Can't believe you're gonna get out of here, man. You guys were
yeah, I don't know how.
Yeah, the second you lost your Hanzo, I was like, oh, okay, well, been nice knowing you, but you got out. Okay. Okay. We're not gonna forget. We're gonna keep our brains focused here. Where do you need to be going as soon as possible? Now I understand right now that there's kind of a brawl still going and you're trying to get your teammates alive. I understand why you're positioned here now. But as soon as you get the opportunity to, where do you need to go and why?
Go back up to the high ground behind us because it helps us a lot.
Yeah, why? Don't just say that. That's not helpful.
Yeah, well, there's Maywall, then Winston, Tracer have to use cooldowns to get to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Okay. And it makes it easier for you to be able to land your own cooldowns too. So again, it's safer defensively and offensively. There's nobody outside of May that can shoot you up there. Nice little nade, and again, that nade works partially because it's an off angle. Because off angles are also powerful because the enemy team forgets about you, you know? Nobody's thinking about blocking a nade here because they're all thinking about killing these guys, right? And so you nade then, the engagement has happened, so the timing is good, and because you're off angling, they're not expecting a nade to come flying in here. Like, that's the last thing in their mind, and what do? You need, what, 3 people? So, good stuff, good stuff. Fine. Okay. Go. Oh, he's dead. Oh, wow. Nice fan. Okay. Okay, so unfortunate, but you have the right idea. Like they're already backing off, so this isn't an off angle anymore. But if they're pushing here and you need here, that's the spirit. You got the right idea. Okay. So your team is wanting to hold close. Well, maybe they are. Okay. So the only thing that's gonna make things difficult, and I remember like this used to pester me so much playing support back in the day, is like you don't always know where your team's gonna hold here. So like let's think about this then. Like let's think about this, okay? what are you gonna do here? If your team plays here, what are you gonna do? Because you can't sit on high ground and then get LOS behind the corner. All right.
Yeah.
So you have
I don't
to
really want to play. Like my thought, like I don't want to play far back.
No, because you're just gonna click shields and die. So
yeah. So I just try to play like with the core.
Okay. You could play with the core. I like this sounds insane, but I would even consider hiding here. Hide here, and then just like hide, and then the enemy team engages, and then you could nade the backline. Is it suicidal? Yeah, but you're guaranteed to find value here.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of thing is like as long as you're doing it with guaranteed offensive value, it doesn't matter if you feed, because a lot of times like if you nade here and your team pushes, like they can't punish you for being there. Like they're dead. Like so I don't know. Be very disciplined with what you're looking for. Exactly what you're looking for. Even if it seems a little bit crazy, just I will off angle here. Okay. This is fine. I think you meant to nano your Kree, but whatever. Turned out alright. Zarya's gonna get value out of that. Unfortunate. That's a pathetic sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, they're kind of standing around the shield, so I was thinking maybe they go through it.
Yeah,
could have been better.
Yeah, but it's like you know you're gonna find value out of it in the next 5 seconds. Like, jeez, like if you're going for a sleep in a Nano Genji, that's a crazy sleep. Obviously, go for it because if you don't land it, you die. It's GG's over. But like, this is still winnable. Like right, like literally 2 seconds later, look what we got here. You know what I'm saying? Like there it is. It presented itself. You will have the opportunity for a better sleep there, guaranteed. Good nade, good shots. And this is where you are getting value out of the Moira, because your Moira is actually like off angling here and like going battle Moira, and so in this situation pocketing your tanks works out. Like you and your Moira have to sort out what you guys are trying to do, because you guys can't do the same thing. Because you will be useless. Okay, fine. You're coalescing, so you're just going battle Ana. It's fine. Unfortunate. The first actual missed sleep I think we've seen. That was a awful nade. Positioning here still isn't super good. Like I would prefer you to be like on one of the pillars to your right, because corner cover is still important. This nade is just horrendous. I don't think you hit anybody. Yeah, you didn't hit anybody. That was a fight losing nade right there. If you nade even like half the team here, you win this immediately. Now you might still win this, but unfortunate. Okay, you get walled off. Should be able to pocket him through that. Nice. Come on now. Come on now. We can't be doing that. Like, you're not going to kill the Hammond, but your sleep there is going to allow your team to put out a lot of damage on him, force him out, prevent him from doing his job, take up the attention of his healers, maybe kill him, right?
Yeah.
Can't miss easy cooldowns like that. I see a lot of people getting really, really irritated at this meta with all the shields and spam and crap, and yeah, it's really irritating, but, like, fight wins and losses come down to plays like that. You know, their Roadhog might land a hook on the Hammond and force the E, and then you might nade the back line, and maybe you don't get the kills, but it forces enough cooldowns to where your front line's able to push and with their 2 bubbles and then win the fight, right? So it's like a cascading effect. One thing leads to another, leads to the other, leads to another, and a team that lands more of their cooldowns, which might be easy to land, it still matters. Like, that sleep matters in the long run. Little benefits. Okay, huge play from Mira McCree, and you end up, okay. We're looking at off angle here. And I like this. So talk me through your decision making here, because we're kind of just walking around, but you clearly are moving with a purpose.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get to the back so I can like nade their team.
So you are looking for a nade here.
Yeah.
Okay. Why is that a good decision, do you think?
Do a lot of damage to the enemy team, distract them, and then have my tanks pushing, especially with the Widow and high ground.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You're also butting up with your McCree. I mean, I understand why nade's good. Everybody knows why nade's good. But I'm saying, why are you going for it here? It's a blind for them. They can't see this very well. Yeah, this is fine. Okay. And they can't shield both directions, obviously. Like this right here, this is a fight winner. If you hit one person with this nade, it's over. And there it is. Zarya's dead. Okay. Don't like your positioning here. Like, this is exactly why I don't like this positioning here. You walk into the enemy team or into the enemy space for really no reason. Like, I understand you feel like the fight's lost, but respect. Like, all you're doing here is you're opening yourself up to more danger. When you walk in here, now the Ashe is on your back, right? So maintain corner, maintain cover, keep the enemy team and your team within your LOS.
Okay.
No exceptions. Like now you've got Tracer in front of you and you have Ashe behind you, whereas you'd have both of them in front of you if you kept a good position. Like this is where the fight is. I'm gonna get suctioned in towards it. Don't do that. Happens all the time in 2CP. Like people will go in Volskaya Industries and you'll have supports walking onto the point on attack or on Anubis, and it's just brain dead because a Doomfist, somebody will swap Doomfist and rocket punch out from spawn to stall, and they'll just one-shot a support, right? Or they'll get caught up in a grav or whatever. There's no point. You do not want to be in the middle of the fight. Off angles are different than being in the middle of the fight. Spilo, came here because you're in my FFA games a lot. I keep hearing about you. Keep the good stuff. Thanks, mate. Play a couple of games of FFA a day. Mostly get tilted that my mechanics aren't as good as they used to be. Okay, talk me through our decisions here. What should we be doing here?
Right now, probably moving around to get a good off angle.
Sure.
Right now, I'm just trying to push the cart. But
like, and another thing too is like, especially when your DPS are doing things like this, the off angles aren't just to set up your own offensive plays. It's so that like you could pocket your Widow and your McCree up here. You know, you can let them you can let them keep their off angle, right?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what I was doing here. I believe I was going up to get like a pick to prevent early fight.
Yeah, it seems like you're doing the right thing. I think you're doing the right. I mean, yeah, this is good. Yeah, this is unfortunate. Unlucky. Not a big deal. Stuff happens. Stop it! Stop just nading to nade, you know? Because like you look at this, it's like if you nade that hog, he's not dying. He's not dying. He's just gonna
especially I already have like Nano.
Yeah, just walk away. He's not dying. You know, like nade now, but it's too late. You're gonna Nano your crew.
Yeah.
Fine. I mean, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine with me, but the nade just unacceptable. Like nade would have been immensely useful there. You Nano your crew, nade the hog, he's dead, right?
Yeah.
Now he dies either way, but you're gimping yourself. Just okay. So good. Pocket the Kree. Hog is tilted. You've got your cooldowns back. Thank you for nading first. It tilts me when I see Honest sleep tracers first. That's such a okay. Chat, why do you nade a tracer first? Two reasons why you nade a tracer first. Can you tell me one? Raucus, tell me one.
Yeah, to either bait cooldowns like recall. That. I guess also to give yourself an advantage.
Yeah, you a lot of the times that you're like flustered, but you're like down half your HP before you even know it hits you. You need nade to kind of stabilize yourself, right? And it's a lot easier to force recall.
Yeah, then also, if you sleep first and you miss that, you're basically done.
You're done if you miss sleep first, and they're gonna have a lot of blinks early too, so it's gonna be easier for them to avoid the sleep. You want to like force their recall and bleed their blinks before you go for sleep. So later in the fight, when there's fewer blinks, sleep is gonna be a higher percentage. Like if we look at this fight again, really quick, she sneaks up on you. Now, first off, your hard scope here, which kind of tilts me, but we'll let that one slide.
Yeah, it's basically just for his game.
Yeah, you're down to 17 HP. Yeah, you're down to 17 HP. If you go for sleep here, you're dead, right? You're gonna die before you can get it off. But you nade, you hit her. She immediately recalls. There's a recall. She had blinked this way. There's like she's down like 3 blinks or 2 blinks, and then you sleep. Like that's good. That's how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, I really only survived there because I was up there with McCree.
Yeah, exactly. You buddied up. Tracer cannot take both of you guys on. That's fine. I mean, it's not great, but your team seems to be in a position to punish it, and you're not really in a position to get punished, so whatever. I like that we're battle-ing here. This is good. You guys are rolling them. Like again here, it's like this is where we morph from like mediocre positioning to like okay, we're pushing. Like this is now bad positioning.
Yeah.
This is bad positioning, and you're gonna tell me why.
Oh, Sigma Shield, if it gets broken, like the hog's probably gonna hook me and I'm dead. That and I'm also exposed to everybody on the enemy team.
Yeah, there's any sort of spam crap garbage. You're out. Not only are you not actually on a corner, you're near one, but you're not on it. But like you have no off angle. You're too close. Like it's just awful. Like, you could be on high ground here, you could be swinging wider left, you could be backing up further, but even then it would just be, again, you and Moira just shooting stuff, and that's not what you want to do. Like, they're an Ana now, but like if their Ana comes from here, like, she's going to be doing so much more than you. So much more than you, because she's going to be able to like nade here, you know what I'm saying? So like this is like their hog walks past their shield, but this is incredibly inefficient for you. Okay, I mean, nice sleeve. Oh no.
Yeah, I know, with the nade.
You actually hit the tracer, but she
that wasn't on purpose though. So.
No, yeah, I bet she's gonna stick you. Oh no, she wasn't even trying for you. Alrighty. Charlie Niner. Oh, no. Okay. So, your sleep's fine. I got no suggestions to your sleeps. Your sleeps are competent enough. Your mechanics, as you said, are fine. There's nothing really wrong in your mechanics. And honestly, I think your nanos are fine too. They're not, you're nanoing to save people. You did nano relatively early in the fight, which I like. It wasn't great on the Sigma, but you had the right idea. You nanoed your Hanzo. I don't really have a problem with your nano boosts. But your positioning is directly affecting your cooldown usage. You're not really looking at you're not reading the situation with your positioning. You're not reading the situation with positioning. And like, I appreciated you saying something like, hey, Tracer, I want to play closer to my team. And like, that's good, but that's not enough. That's only one level, right? That's all, like, what if they're not on Tracer? You know? What if they're on Hanzo Mei? And you didn't have any answers for that. And it showed because your gameplay was garbage. So, and it's hurting you because your mechanics are fine. They're good enough to get into GM with these mechanics, right? But it's not. But you're not able to because all the nade and sleep mechanics in the world aren't going to help you if all you're looking at is a shield. And that's especially important in this meta. Like, if they're running Reaper Mei, why are you not why are you not high ground? Why are you not off angling? If they're running Hanzo Mei, why are you not high ground? Why are you not off angling? You know, you have to abuse that because, you know, if you're on Ana and you're not on something like Lucio where you're contributing more in the brawl, or Zen where you're at least spamming more, like your entire contribution revolves around this basically in that comp, especially when you're with a Moira. So you have to be way more thoughtful about it. Your positioning in terms of your off angle. So we'll actually like draw it on. Come on, high ground. You can see the penmanship front and center. And your off angles. And like, when can I get punished for this? When am I not going to get punished? And start to go for it. And that's going to be especially important into like the Orisa stuff, the Orisa Sigma stuff. And you'll have to be even sneakier into that. Because a nade will single-handedly win you a fight in that circumstance. It will win you the fight. It's like, it's going to come to just one person having the balls to actually do something. And you could do it if you like look at the situation. So high ground and off angles for you. I really think that's all you need to worry about. And specifically your nades, basically, that tie into that. But I don't really think there's anything wrong with your nade timing.
No, it's just kind of like being conscious of what you're doing with it.
Yep, your timing was fine, your mechanics are fine, you just needed to help yourself out with your positioning. Corners and cover wasn't great either. You could practice that, but I feel like I want you to be looking, like, and again, let me actually, because this is the most important part about this, read the situation. Read it. Read. Because don't sit on high ground when they're running double sniper. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna have, you don't go on off angles and flanks when they're running Genji, Tracer, Winston. You're just gonna feed. But you have to read the situation.